I never thought I'd find myself in a situation like this, but here I am, laying it all out because I need to get this off my chest and maybe get some advice. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife Emily for about 5 years now. We were planning our wedding, everything felt perfect, and I genuinely believed we were happy, or at least I thought we were. She seemed like the real deal, smart, beautiful, independent. I was head over heels, and I thought she was too. We had our arguments like everyone does, but nothing serious enough to shake the foundation of our relationship. Things started to feel off about 2 months ago. Emily started acting distant, always busy, disappearing for hours without explanation. She'd say she was at work or running errands, but then I'd find her phone buzzing with texts she'd quickly hide. Little things, really, but enough to make me suspicious. I'd ask her about it and she'd brush it off, call me paranoid or insecure. She'd say I was overthinking, that she loved me and was committed. Then came the day I found her phone open on the couch, something I don't usually do. But I was bored and just wanted to look through it. I didn't expect to see what I saw. There were messages, flirty, suggestive texts from someone named Jackson. I knew Jackson. He's my best man from the wedding, a good guy, or so I thought. But the texts, they weren't just friendly. They were intimate, like they shared secrets and plans that went way beyond friendship. They were talking about meeting up, about sex, about how they couldn't wait to see each other again. I felt my stomach drop. My mind spun. I read and reread those messages, trying to believe it was some sick joke or misunderstanding. I didn't confront her that night. I needed to find more proof to be sure, but I already knew the truth was staring me right in the face. My wife, the woman I trusted, was sleeping with my best man, Jackson. The guy I'd been close to for years, the guy I'd trusted enough to stand beside me at my wedding. And she lied about being pregnant, about wanting to start a family with me. That was the biggest lie of all, and I feel like such a fool for not seeing it. Sooner, all those nights she was exhausted, all those times she told me she was tired because of work, they were all just cover stories. What hurts the most is that she's such a bitch about it all. When I finally confronted her, she didn't even deny it at first. She just looked at me with this cold, dismissive expression and said, "You're overreacting. It's just sex. It doesn't mean anything." Like I was some crazy guy throwing a fit because my wife slept with someone I trusted. She's always been good at twisting things around, making me doubt myself. She said Jackson was just someone she met at a party, that they had a one-time thing, and that it was over. But I know better now. I caught her in a lie she's been lying about so much more. The worst part is how she's been so bitchy about everything. She's throwing tantrums, calling me insecure, saying I'm jealous and paranoid. She told me I should just get over it, that I need to stop accusing her of stuff that didn't happen. She's been manipulative, trying to turn me into the bad guy. Meanwhile, she's out there screwing my best man, and she thinks she can just brush it off like it's no big deal. The betrayal cuts deep. I can't even look at her the same way anymore. I feel angry, betrayed, humiliated, and honestly, I feel like a complete idiot for not seeing the signs sooner. I mean, how blind can you be? I was so caught up in planning the wedding, in believing we had a future, that I ignored all the little red flags piling up. Now I'm sitting here, trying to process what this means for me. I want to confront Jackson too. I want to tear into him, but part of me just feels numb. I've never been so furious and so sad at the same time. I keep replaying that moment I found her phone, how everything clicked into place. That sick feeling in my stomach, knowing I was so naive. I thought I was building a life with someone who cared, who loved me. Turns out she was just pretending to be the girl I fell for, the girl who wanted a family, the girl who told everyone she was pregnant with my child. It was all a lie, the biggest lie I ever heard. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm torn between wanting to fight for whatever's left of this marriage and just walking away from someone who's played me so badly. I never thought I'd be in this situation, and honestly, I don't know how to move on from it. Every time I think about her, I get this mix of rage and heartbreak, and I just want to scream. But I also know I need to be strong. I need to figure out what's best for me now. That's where I'm at. Just laying it all out because maybe, just maybe, someone out there has been through something similar and can tell me what to do next. The day after I found out, everything felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I couldn't sleep, couldn't focus. My mind kept circling back to the texts, her lies, the way she looked at me like I was some kind of crazy, jealous idiot when I confronted her. I felt so stupid, so betrayed, and yet I also felt this burning anger that I couldn't quite control. I'd spent years trusting her, building a life around our plans. And now it was all crumbling in front of my eyes. I didn't sleep that night, just lying there staring at the ceiling, trying to make sense of it all, trying to figure out what I was going to do. The next morning, I woke up feeling hollow but determined. I knew I had to confront her again. Nothing would ever be the same after this. I sat her down in the living room, my hands trembling as I looked her in the eye. I told her I knew everything. I told her I read the texts, saw her lies, and that I wasn't going to be played like I was some fool. Her face twisted into this nasty sneer like I was the one messing everything up, not her. She rolled her eyes and said, "You're overreacting, Mike. You always blow things out of proportion. Jackson and I, it's just sex. It doesn't mean anything. You're acting crazy because you're scared of losing me." I couldn't believe her, that cold, bitchy attitude she had. She sat there, all high and mighty, acting like I was the one who was wrong for feeling betrayed. She kept insisting it was just a one-time thing, like that made it okay. She said Jackson was just bored, that he wanted some fun, and I should just get over it. She called me insecure, said I was jealous because she's so beautiful and desirable, that she's done nothing wrong and I just need to relax. I wanted to scream at her, to tell her she was full of shit, but I was too exhausted, too broken inside. She started crying then, fake tears flowing down her face, but I didn't buy it. That was just her way of manipulating, making me feel guilty for catching her. She told me I was paranoid, that I was imagining things, that Jackson was just a friend she had a moment with, and that I was overreacting because I didn't trust her. The audacity. She threw in the line about how she loved me, but her actions spoke so much louder than her words. I saw her eyes flicker with guilt, then that bitchy smirk returned. She was trying to turn it around, make me the bad guy, make herself look like the victim. I felt my chest tighten, like I was about to lose my mind. All these years I thought we had something real, but the truth was she was cheating on me with my best man, the guy I'd trusted with my life. And now she's acting like I'm the one crazy for feeling hurt. I don't think I've ever felt so furious and so heartbroken at the same time. Honestly, I wanted to punch something, or better yet her. But I stayed quiet, just staring at her, trying to hold it all in. I told her I needed some space, that I couldn't be around her right now. She just shrugged and said, "Fine, do whatever you want, but you're overreacting. You'll come around." That was the moment I realized she had no remorse, no shame, only that condescending attitude that made me want to throw up. I left the house, went for a drive, trying to clear my head. But everywhere I looked, all I saw was her face, her lies, Jackson's face, the betrayal. And I knew deep down this was going to change everything. I had a choice: either stay and accept her bullshit or walk away and start over. The emotional roller coaster was just beginning. I felt angry, yes, but also deeply crushed. I kept asking myself how someone I loved for so long could do this to me. How she could lie about being pregnant, lie about wanting a family, and then screw my best man behind my back. It's one thing for her to cheat, but for her to lie so convincingly, to act like she was the victim, that's what really cut deep. I kept wondering what I did wrong, what I missed, why I was so blind. But deep down, I know it wasn't my fault. Some people are just toxic, manipulative, and liars' masters, and she was one of those people. I stayed away from her for a few days, trying to process everything. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and every time I saw her around the house, I felt that familiar punch in the gut. I kept replaying everything, the texts, the lies, her bitchy attitude, and I realized I couldn't keep pretending I was okay with this. I started thinking about what I needed to do. Do I confront Jackson next? Do I ask her if she was ever truly pregnant? Do I try to salvage this or just cut my losses? Honestly, I didn't have a clear answer yet. All I knew was that I never wanted to see her or Jackson again. I needed to figure out my next step, and fast. The days that followed were a blur of rage, confusion, and a kind of numbness I hadn't felt before. I kept replaying everything in my head: her lies, the texts, the way she looked when she was trying to manipulate me into doubting myself. I kept asking myself how I hadn't seen it sooner, how I could have been so blind to her true nature. Every time I thought I might start to feel some relief, the pain would come crashing back in, sharper than before. One night I couldn't sleep. The house was eerily quiet except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and my own racing thoughts. I decided I needed answers, real answers, not her fake apologies or dismissive excuses. I started digging through her phone again, trying to find anything I might have missed. I needed to know if she was still lying, if she was still hiding something from me. That's when I found the message that confirmed everything. A picture of her and Jackson, half naked, in some hotel room. No mistaking it. Their bodies intertwined, the caption reading, "Can't wait to see you again tonight. Love you." I stared at that message for what felt like forever. That was the moment I knew for sure that she was still lying, still hiding the extent of her betrayal. My stomach clenched, my fists clenched so tight I thought I might break something. I felt this insane mix of disgust and heartbreak. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face, pretend she was innocent, and then go and sleep with someone I trusted? I realized then that I had to confront her again, but this time I wanted the truth, nothing but the truth. The next morning I sat her down, my voice cold but steady. I saw the picture, I told her. Her face didn't even flicker with remorse. Instead, she rolled her eyes and smirked. "Oh, that was just a stupid joke. I sent it to a friend by mistake. You're reading too much into it." Her tone was dismissive, like I was overreacting again. But I was. I knew she was lying, just like she'd lied about everything else. I could see it in her eyes, guilt mixed with that bitchy attitude she always had when she was cornered. I pushed her further, demanding she tell me the truth. "Are you still sleeping with Jackson? Are there more pictures or messages I don't know about?" Her response was a sneer and a shrug. "Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Who cares? It's none of your business anymore." That was the moment I realized she had no remorse, no empathy, only that manipulative, bitchy attitude that made me want to scream. I could see her confidence in her lies, her ability to twist everything around so I'd doubt myself. I felt my anger boiling over. Everything inside me was screaming that I had to do something, anything, to make her see that I was serious. I told her I was done, that I wanted her out of my house, that I didn't want to see her face again until she could be honest with me. She laughed at that, a cold, dismissive laugh, and said, "You're so dramatic. Calm down, Mike. You're overreacting. You always do this when you're insecure." That's when I realized she was just trying to gaslight me, to make me feel like I was the crazy one. But I didn't care anymore. I knew the truth, and that was all that mattered. That night I packed a bag. I couldn't stay in that house, not anymore. I felt like I was living with a stranger, a manipulative, bitchy stranger who had played me for months. I knew I couldn't keep pretending nothing was wrong. I told her I was leaving, and she just shrugged like she didn't care. As I walked out that door, I felt a strange mixture of relief and despair. I was finally taking control of my life again, but at what cost? The pain of betrayal was still fresh, and I wondered how I'd ever be able to trust anyone again. In the days that followed, I started to piece together what I needed to do next. I reached out to some friends for support, and I admitted to myself that I was done with Emily. She was cruel, selfish, and manipulative, everything I had never suspected. I realized that some people are just toxic, and trying to fix what's broken with them is pointless. I didn't want her back. And I didn't want Jackson to get away with it either. I thought about exposing her, about telling everyone the truth, but honestly, I just wanted to focus on healing. There's a part of me that still feels broken, but I also feel a newfound sense of clarity. I learned that trust is fragile, that some people are just liars and cheaters, and that love isn't enough to fix everything. What I want most now is to move on, to rebuild my life without her. This experience has taught me that I deserve better, that I don't have to accept being betrayed, and that my self-worth isn't tied to someone who would do this to me. If anything, I hope others can learn from my story, the importance of paying attention, trusting your gut, and never letting someone treat you like dirt just because you want to believe in love. The aftermath hit me like a ton of bricks. I thought I'd be able to just move on, but the truth is, it's not that simple. Every day brought a new wave of feelings: anger, sadness, bitterness. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, remembering her face when I confronted Her, the way she twisted everything, and Jackson's smug smile. It was like a punch to the stomach every time. I couldn't escape the memories, no matter how hard I tried. I started going to the gym, trying to channel that rage into something productive, but even lifting weights didn't erase the feeling that I'd been played for a fool. One night, I got a call from a mutual friend, someone I'd trusted, Jake. He told me he'd run into Jackson at a bar and that Jackson was bragging about how easy Emily was, how she wanted him, that she'd been chasing after him even before I ever proposed. Hearing that was like adding gasoline to the fire. I felt that old rage come rushing back. How could she be so damn manipulative? How could she lie for so long and then act like the victim when she got caught? That bitch had played everybody. Me, Jackson, her friends, even her family. It was like I'd been blind to who she really was. I decided I had to do something, not just for myself, but to put an end to her lies. I spent hours digging into her social media, looking for any signs I'd missed or clues that could prove her lies. I found some more messages, some photos, even a few videos of her and Jackson together. It was shocking how brazen she'd been. I was furious but also sick to my stomach. I knew I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I needed to show the world what kind of person she really was, what kind of person Jackson was too. So I went into full detective mode. I contacted a private investigator, paid for some surveillance. I wanted proof, undeniable, concrete proof, something that would make her realize she couldn't bullshit her way out of this anymore. And that's when I found out she'd been sneaking around even more than I suspected. She met Jackson in secret more times than I could count, sometimes in hotels, sometimes in her own apartment when she thought I wasn't home. I got photos of her leaving his place, her makeup smudged, her hair disheveled. It was all right there, proof that she'd lied about one night or a mistake. This was ongoing, and she was still lying to my face. The feeling of betrayal was overwhelming. I'd trusted her with my life, my love, my future, and she'd used all that to manipulate me, to cheat on me, to lie about everything. I started questioning every moment we shared, every conversation, every promise she ever made. Had she ever loved me? Or was I just some fool to her that she could toss aside when she got bored? That's what hurt most, knowing I was just another piece of her game, another target she'd used and discarded. I knew I had to confront her again, but this time with undeniable evidence. I sat her down in our living room, laid everything out, photos, messages, the reports from the private investigator. Her face went pale, her bitchy attitude replaced by pure panic. She tried to deny everything, to spin her usual lies, but I just held up the evidence and said, "It's over, Emily. I've had enough. I know everything and I'm not going to be played anymore." Her eyes darted around, searching for some way out, some excuse to cling to, but I was done. She started crying again, but this time there was no fake innocence in her eyes, only desperation. She begged me to forgive her, said she was sorry, that she didn't mean to hurt me, but I knew better. Sorry doesn't fix lying, cheating, or sleeping with my best man behind my back. Sorry doesn't undo the countless lies she told, or the fact that she was willing to betray everything we ever said we stood for. I looked at her and knew that I couldn't keep going down this road. I told her she had to leave, that I didn't want to see her again until she was willing to be honest and truly apologize. She didn't go quietly. She threw a tantrum, screamed, called me crazy, said I was overreacting because I couldn't handle the truth. I just stood there, calm but firm, knowing I'd reached my limit. There was no coming back from this, not for me. I'd been a fool, but I wasn't going to be her fool anymore. Watching her pack her bags and walk out that door was one of the hardest things I'd ever done. It felt like ripping out a piece of myself, but I knew it was necessary if I ever wanted to heal, if I wanted to regain some sense of dignity. As she left, she threw one last parting shot. "You're overreacting. Mike, you'll see, you'll miss me." That moment, I felt everything inside me shrink. Yeah, I'd miss her, but not in a good way. I'd miss the person I thought she was, the person I thought I loved. Now I just saw her for what she really was, a manipulative, selfish bitch who'd lied, cheated, and played me for a fool. The only thing I could do now was pick up the pieces and figure out how to move forward with my life, knowing I'd been betrayed so badly by someone I trusted completely. The weeks after she left were a nightmare, honestly. I thought I'd feel relief, but instead I just felt hollow. Every morning I woke up with an ache in my chest, like I'd lost a part of myself. I kept replaying everything, her lies, the betrayal, the way she looked when she was caught. It was like a constant echo in my mind. I couldn't eat properly. I couldn't focus at work. All I wanted was to forget, but the memories kept stabbing me from every angle. I didn't even bother trying to sleep. Every time my head hit the pillow, I'd see her face, her sneer, Jackson's smug grin. One day, I finally sat down and really thought about what I needed to do. I realized I couldn't just sit around feeling sorry for myself. I had to do something to regain control. I reached out to some friends who knew about everything, guys I trusted who'd been through similar shit. They told me to focus on myself, that I deserved better, that I needed to heal, even if it hurt like hell. So I threw myself into work, working late, trying to distract myself. But honestly, nothing worked. The pain was still there, gnawing at me like I'd been punched in the stomach every day. Then I remembered Jackson, that bastard. I couldn't let him off the hook so easily. Yeah, I knew I couldn't change what happened, but I could make him regret messing with my life. I started digging around, finding out where he worked, who he hung out with. I wanted to confront him face to face, not just over some phone call. It took a few days, but I finally tracked him down at his favorite bar. I waited until closing time, then approached him. The look on his face when I called him out was priceless, like I was some crazy guy. I told him exactly what I thought of him, that he was a pathetic excuse for a man, that he used my wife like a toy. I saw the arrogance fade from his face as I laid it all out, proof, anger, everything. I told him that I'd be watching him, and if he ever tried crossing that line again, I'd make sure he regretted it. That confrontation was satisfying in a twisted way. It felt like I was reclaiming a tiny piece of my dignity, even if I was bleeding inside. Meanwhile, Emily kept messaging me, trying to get back in my good graces. She'd send long, manipulative messages, crying, saying she was sorry, that she'd make it right, that she loved me and made a mistake. But I knew better. I saw through her bullshit now. Sorry doesn't erase the months of lies, the betrayal, the nights she spent with Jackson behind my back. I refused to fall for her tricks. I told her I needed space, that I wasn't ready to forgive her, and honestly, I didn't want her back. Not ever. I was done being a pawn in her game. The truth is, I started to see things more clearly, about myself and about what I deserve. I realized I'd been so caught up in trying to be the good guy, trying to fix everything, that I'd forgotten about my own happiness. I started thinking about starting over, maybe even going somewhere new, just to get away from all the memories. I needed to rebuild my life, without her, without Jackson, without the lies. It was a hard pill to swallow, but I knew I had to do it if I wanted to move on. Looking back, I can honestly say this experience changed me. I used to believe in love, in loyalty, in trust. Now I see that some people are just manipulative, selfish, and dishonest. I learned that I am stronger than I thought, more resilient. The pain will fade, but the lessons I've learned will stay with me forever. I'll never again ignore the red flags, and I'll never let someone manipulate my feelings like that again. I hope anyone reading this who's going through something similar understands. You're not alone, and you don't have to stay stuck with someone who treats you like dirt. You deserve respect, honesty, and someone who truly cares. I'm still healing, but I'm on my way back to being myself. And that's what matters most now. It's been a few months now since she walked out that door, and honestly, I'm in a better place than I expected to be. It's not perfect. I still get moments when I feel the sting of betrayal, when I wonder how I missed all the signs, or when I just feel lonely. But overall, I've started to rebuild myself piece by piece. What hurt the most was realizing that I'd given so much of myself to someone who didn't really care, who used my trust as a weapon against me. I've learned a lot about myself through this mess. I learned that I'm stronger than I ever thought I could be. I learned that love isn't just about believing the best in someone. Sometimes, you have to see the signs and listen to your gut. I also learned that some people are just manipulative and sneaky, and that trusting blindly isn't always safe. Moving forward, I know I'll be more cautious, more aware, and more careful with who I let into my life. Most importantly, I've realized that I don't have to stay in a situation where I'm constantly doubting myself, where someone else's lies keep tearing me down. I deserve honesty, loyalty, and respect, things I once thought I had, but turned out were just illusions. Now, I focus on my own happiness. I've started dating again, not rushing into anything, but opening myself up to the possibility of genuine connection with someone who actually values me. Looking back, I see that this whole experience, as heartbreaking as it was, taught me invaluable lessons. It's shown me what I won't accept, what I should demand from a relationship, and how important it is to trust myself above all. I've come to accept that some betrayals are deep, but they don't define me. I control my story now. I've taken back my power. And while I'll probably always carry scars from this, I know I'm stronger for having survived it. So to anyone out there going through something similar, just know you're not alone. It hurts, it really does. But it also gets better. Time heals and you'll find your way back to happiness, even if it takes some time. Trust in yourself, keep your head up, and never settle for less than you deserve. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, but it also has a way of healing the wounds you didn't think could ever close. Stay strong and remember, your worth isn't determined by someone else's betrayal. It's something you carry inside you always.